Hi class, my name is Lauren Douglas and I chose Nimona for my project this week, and it was written and illustrated by Noel Stevenson, published by HarperCollins at 272 pages. It indeed is a graphic novel, and it was actually on the New York Times bestsellers list. And fun fact, it is set to be animated into a movie by Valentine's Day 2020. I personally enjoy reading the novel from start to finish, not only because of the colors and how they matched what was going on in the scene and the personality of the characters, but I thought the overall art style was just really engrossing and it pulled me in even more on top of just such an engaging storyline that was unpredictable. Promise. I couldn't predict a single thing, and usually I can, so that made it an even better read for me personally. And that's why I recommend that everybody at least give it a try. If you find that it's something that you enjoy reading too, like I did, you can find more of Miss Stevenson's writing. Just look for it. So I promise you won't be disappointed at all. Contrary to the name of the book, Nimona is actually about Lord Ballister Blackheart, a former knight, now villain, in order to expose the evil that the institution has been hiding from the public. Blackheart's disdain for the institution came about because they abandoned him after his arm was blown off following his win during a jousting tournament with none other than his best friend Ambrosius Goldenlorn, who accidentally blew his arm off and it had to be replaced with a metal one. There to help him complete his goal of exposing the institution for the dirt that they commit and try to hide is Nimona. Nimona is an experienced shapeshifter, having had the ability to do it since she was little. But she doesn't tell everybody that, which we find out later on. She turns out to be the perfect sidekick for Ballister to achieve his goal of exposing the institution. And because of that, the institution is quick to pose her as a threat. The institution orders Goldenloin to kill her, though he is apprehensive at first. Nimona is a no-nonsense taking, act first, think later type of girl, and although she can be rough around the edges, I like the character development that she went through. Act 1 starts with chapter 1 and ends on chapter 4, which will be page 33. That'll be the end of Act 1. And that covers from the very first time Blackheart and Nimona meet all the way to Nimona exposing the fact that she does indeed have a weakness, and that's because during a festival that they attend, Blackheart comes across a doctor who's discovered this new energy, and as she has it sitting out on the table, after finding out that they had been using a very poisonous and rare plant called a chata root, which could potentially poison the entire city. Because of that, Blackheart devises a plan to poison apples with the fox poison that won't necessarily kill people, but make it look like the institution's jada root plants have been affecting the food instead of Blackheart's poison, which will start raising alarms and, scaring people, which would only make things worse, and the institution couldn't lie about it because they can't explain how these people are getting sick. Act 2 starts with chapter 5 and ends on chapter 8, which is pages 34 through 122. And it picks up with Blackheart asking how Nimona was able to use a parlor trick, quote unquote parlor trick, during the festival where it looked like her head was cut off, but somehow she regenerated quickly, and that stunned everybody. So it picks up with that, and Mona can't get around the fact that she lied about her backstory because Blackheart puts two and two together when he asks her about the witch she said gave her her powers, and she said, "What witch?" Since this is the most important act, everything happens during this one. It continues with Blackheart trying to administer a cure to the people that were affected by his fox poison because somebody had actually died. Since it had been prolonged so long, they weren't meant to have it as long. It was only supposed to be for a few weeks until the institution would get blamed and be taken down. So because of that, as he's giving the cure, he's captured by Golden Loin and henchmen and escorted straight to the institution where the director is smugly waiting to tell him that his suspicions were correct and they were indeed manufacturing Jada root, not because they were preparing for war, but just because power meant everything to them. They have Nimona captured in a bubble made of material that can contain Jada root, so she can't escape. It's virtually impossible for her. When the director makes the mistake of trying to push Nimona even more by shocking Blackheart in front of her in order to get answers, Nimona is quick to show that strength comes from within. And because she can still control her cells outside of her body as they're drawing blood trying to test on her, she's able to control the blood that gets out and use that to conjure a dragon that helps her escape. Because the dragon is made out of pure hatred, it does nothing but destroy. Act 2 ends with Golden Loin helping Blackheart escape after the lockdown begins, and if they had said they'd die. Act 3, the final act, starts with chapter 9 and ends with chapter 12, although it's not called chapter 12. The last chapter is indeed called epilogue. But those are from pages 123 to 256. Now, I know that seems like a lot, but that's only because the first couple chapters, there were only a few pages in each one. And then as the story progressed and got a little deeper, the pages in each chapter got longer. So trust me when I say it definitely works, even though it doesn't seem like it does due to the page numbers, but it fits the scheme of the 3 acts. Because this half of Nimona is unstable, there's no way around getting through to it. So there's only one way to end it all, and that's to kill her. Oh, well, it rather. But because they're still connected in a way, if you kill it, Nimona dies too. While Nimona's dragon form hunts down and finds the director of the institution, Blackheart is in search for Dr. Blitzmeyer. And when he finds her, he asks if he can borrow her anomalous energy, which is what can contain and hinder Nimona's powers. So he gives that to Golden Loin and tells him to use it to stifle the dragon form while he can get the actual Nimona and bring her to the dragon form so they can conjoin once more. The director of the institution is killed by Nimona's dragon form, as well as the king. And Golden Loin is injured fairly badly, but he manages to survive, as well as Blackheart. But in the end, it looked like Nimona had died in the explosion. The ending of Nimona may catch you a little off guard, may tuck your heartstrings a little bit, but I promise, just keep reading and you'll be surprised. I thought Nimona and Blackheart's character arcs were the best by far, because you got an in-depth look at what made them tick and why they were the way that they were. After Blackheart's arm got blown off by his best friend, I'm pretty sure it was reasonable for him to be bitter and for him to harbor onto that anger. In the end, when Golden Loin confessed that it was indeed an accident, but killing him was part of the plan for the institution, Blackheart was able to forgive him for that, as well as Nimona. Because through a flashback, we find out that she had indeed been captured by the institution before and endlessly tested on and killed over and over again to see how her powers worked and things like that. So of course, she's going to be angry and not want to be around people like that and not very trusting. So it made sense, and I like that she kept it realistic. On top of the art style being just phenomenal, the directional flow is really easy to follow along, and I like that she made use of, connecting multiple bubbles at one time so the reader doesn't get lost and can follow who's talking and who they're talking to, you know. I also like the font style used. And anytime, there were shouting words or exclamations, it would be in all caps. Although sometimes it was hard to tell because of the font and how casual and funky it is. It's not script. It's more like Comic Sans a little bit. So that would be the only thing that I could say could use a little bit more tweaking, just so you know when a word is being emphasized. So whether or not you're a classmate or a friend, I definitely recommend going and giving Nimona a read. Definitely. If not for the medieval style with modern day situations, just for the fact that it's a shapeshifter, that's a cool story. It really is.